Good morning, Facebook family, Instagram family. And I'm gonna definitely have to go set up I'm gonna have to set up a barber appointment in the near future. But I just wanted to chime in on a subject that I'm seeing that's trending across social media about the athlete from Iowa and athlete from LSU, Reese versus Caitlin. And I think in 2023, I think it should be about time for us to kind of really understand that although that we coexist in this thing we called country or community or world, you have different segments of the population, you have different demographics, different races. But one thing that I'm coming to understand is that it's a law of nature, that one must understand. And, certain communities that have been oppressed by the dominant society, and we walk around as if, things are supposed to be a certain way. Or in 1930, is a significant date that I'm going to go back into at a later time, but I'm going to touch around it, and those who may have been touched by this event will know what I'm talking about. So like in 1930, there was a significant event that changed the landscape of this country, and particularly gave a olive branch or a support factor from a mental standpoint, a spiritual standpoint, to kind of really understand, like how I'm coming to understand it now is to teach and oppress people the law of nature. I'll give you an example. If you think about nature and you study nature, you have, and I often give this example about the gazelle versus the lion. The gazelle by nature knows that, the lion is a predator, right? So the gazelle knows that. It's not, so if a gazelle see a lion, like, like the antennas are going to go up, and you're not going to see a gazelle just walking around, floating around, and, just being like unaware of where the predators are. Because the gazelle know that there's a law in nature. So that doesn't mean that the gazelle is walking around thinking about the lion all the time and, you know what I mean? I just want to be separated from the lion, and man, it's, no. It's a law of nature that the gazelle know that the lion is the predator. So you're not going to see the gazelle wanting to integrate within a lion's den. You don't want to go, don't want to force itself on an area where you know that it's not supposed to go. Whatever you're seeing in society, study nature, because nature will give you the lesson if you would study, if you would acknowledge the fact that nature needs to be studied. I'm going to wrap it up about, the Caitlin versus Reese thing. And every time when these situations come up, it's like, boy, we be woo, 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 woo. Man, did you see that? Did you hear that? But in 1930, there was information that was presented to kind of help us understand so that we can navigate through, these interactions. Whereas, I mean, it causes us to scratch our head and be like, woo, 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 woo. Oh, man, see what happened. And that, I mean, it's good for us to kind of really recognize it and talk about it, to get it off our mind and chest. But we need to start to understand the law of nature, right? Um, I'm gonna attempt to kind of really, break this down because I don't want to come across as, man, this is kind of, because, man, you know what I mean? Like, I consider myself as a universal type of person, and always was like that. So I just want to have peace with everybody, man. Just I don't care, because the outer surface is just what it is, right? But it's about what's happening on the inside. But if you're coming, I think that if you're a part of an oppressive, community, uh, past, present, and dare I say future, I think that this particular information, need to be studied and internalized so that, one could be able to navigate throughout this world without being like what I call like a naive gazelle. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, the situations come up, you know what I mean? And we talk about it. But if you came up, like I come up in this world, and particularly in this country, I mean, you have to understand the law of nature, or otherwise, you're just going to be, devoured by the predator. Uh, it's nothing. I mean, it's really past the fact that someone's pointing a finger at somebody else, because I want to kind of really break down both sides. I want to break down the side of the oppressor, and I want to break down the side of the oppressed. Because you have to serve justice to both, because it's a cause and effect on both sides. But just to kind of really, talk about this Caitlyn versus Reesr, situation is something that need to be said because, as I discuss this with my friends, and people that I know, I mean, it always comes down to this, but we kind of really need to understand the law of nature. And the question and answer was presented in 1930 that many of us, I mean, it went in one end, out the other, you misinterpreted it, or, oh, he's a radical, you know what I mean? And we put all of these stuff in, and it kind of reminds me of the life of Jesus, man, of all of, the scribes and the Sadducees was, oh, he's a this, he's a that, you know what I'm saying? He's going against all of that and all of that. You know what I mean? I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, man. It looks like that these events always, repeats itself. But in the up and coming